Hey everyone, Dan from One Man Book Club here to share The Rise and Fall of D.O.D.O with you. This is by Neal Stephenson and Nicole Galland. Now, I've heard of Neal Stephenson, haven't heard of Nicole Galland. Neal Stephenson I like a lot. Nicole Galland, she must be good because this book's pretty cool. So maybe I'll have to look something else up that she wrote, but you might have heard of Neal Stephenson too. This book is kind of unique. How about, is this a science fiction story with some fantasy mixed in? Or is it a fantasy story with some sci-fi elements? Maybe a little bit of both? Maybe something altogether different? I don't know. I think, though, it's appropriate for me to create an entirely new genre for The Rise and Fall of D.O.D.O. I hereby dub The Rise and Fall of D.O.D.O. science fantasy. Every few years, I get an itch to read something by Neal Stephenson. His trademark are these really long books with fascinating stories that feature really, really complex science. And reading Neal Stephenson is a serious mental workout. It's a commitment, and it takes me years in between reading his books to recover from reading it. That's how complex it is. The last one I read was Cryptonomicon, and that was back in 2013. It's 2021 now, so I guess it's taken me 8 years to get over the mind beating it was to read a Neal Stephenson book. Now, I guess that means I'll probably be reading Snow Crash or Seven Eves or something like that in 2029. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I thought The Rise and Fall of D.O.D.O. was really cool. A clandestine government agency has discovered a cache of historical documents that prove witches existed in the past. They could perform real magic, and they were respected and known in society because of their powers. History shows that their power began to wane in the early 19th century and then, for some reason, vanished altogether in 1851. Why did it disappear? What happened to magic? If we understand how the hows and the whys of why it disappeared, can we possibly bring it back? And if we could, what would a government agency use it for? I'll let you discover the specifics of the hows and whys of magic disappearing. I will give you a hint, though. It involves serious quantum physics and locking a cat in a box. Side story, I was telling my 14-year-old about D.O.D.O. and mentioned Schrodinger's cat. You can look that up, Schrodinger's cat. His response, oh, I know all about Schrodinger's cat. They talked all about it on Big Bang Theory. So 1 point for Sheldon Cooper. If you want to learn about Schrodinger's cat, like I said, look it up online. But it's a real thing, and it has a big part to play in The Rise and Fall of D.O.D.O. and magic. So can we bring magic back? Well, obviously the answer is yes. Otherwise, there wouldn't be this cool book to read. So that's not a spoiler. What would we use it for? Time travel, duh. The Rise and Fall of D.O.D.O. is the story of the rediscovery of magic, modern-day witches, and a secret branch of the U.S. government that sends agents back in time to subtly nudge outcomes of events that will result in different outcomes in our current day. Cool, right? Now, a side benefit of reading D.O.D.O. is all of the time spent on the obnoxiously true stereotypes associated with both government and private corporations. Now, if you work for any of these kinds of entities, you're going to laugh in solidarity as D.O.D.O. navigates through this sea of acronyms, HR policies, bureaucracy, unqualified leaders, red tape, and other general goofiness. There's some pretty funny, silly, goofy things in the book. Some reviewers felt that the middle of the book was bogged down by all the time dedicated to these elements. I actually found it fun and pretty relatable. This is The Rise and Fall of D.O.D.O. The title should give you all the hints you need about how things work out for D.O.D.O. After all, these are witches we're dealing with. The book has a really strong ending, sets up nicely for book 2 if you're interested in continuing with the story. It's not required. There's no cliffhanger. It ends, pretty solidly. And I'll probably go after the second book in the future. It's written by Nicole Galland. Neal Stephenson isn't part of the second book. So I'll probably get to it eventually. I'm not in too much in a hurry. Let's see, some content thoughts for you. The book is long and it's scientifically heavy, like 700 plus pages. So if that's not your thing, you might want to skip this one. There's a fair amount of grown-up language and sexual nuance. There's nothing graphic or descriptive, but turns out when you can take time travel, when you time travel, you can't take anything with you. So there's a lot of time with people being spent naked. Plus, apparently, a common cover for witches throughout history was to hide out as prostitutes. So you're going to find a lot of whores, body houses, and courtesans to wade through, depending on what time and place in history you visit. All that means is the rise and fall of D.O.D.O. is best to be enjoyed by adults. But enjoy it you will. I suggest you give the rise and fall of D.O.D.O. a try. Happy reading, everyone.